consent to suspend the agenda?
Second.
All right, hearing a second, I'm just looking, or well, it's unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Okay, seeing no objections, the motion passes. I'm suspending the agenda so that we could just jump into the athletics report so they can leave and go to the send-off for the women's wrestling team. So I'm just gonna hand the floor out to both of you.
All right, so to highlight one of the things from our last report that we have an update on, we had talked about in our last report how some of the varsity sports teams, they didn't have some of the weight coaches present at them. After a discussion with Coach Collins, it was decided in Student Athlete Advisory Committee that for in-season teams, lift coaches only be present at one lift per week for the team. For out-of-season teams, be twice a week. So for some of the teams that lift 3 times a week that are out of season, they would only see one of those coaches 2 times a week. There was a miscommunication between SAC and some of the teams that didn't get around, which is why there was a lot of confusion. This has been sorted out. Additionally, the athletic department is hoping for the next academic year to have 4 lift coaches from Springfield College and not just 3. This will help with distributing lift times more evenly among the coaches. One of the more present issues to the athletic department is the pool heater is still broken. With women's swim now being out of season, this is less of an issue. The main thing now is that the OT department does a project with Aqua Buddies for students that need like the pool. Facilities is aware of the issue. It's a matter of getting parts ordered and then the possibility of having to hire in outside repair people because this falls out the typical jurisdiction of what facilities would have to fix. There's 2 shout outs the athletic department wants to give. One to Ella Smith of women's swim, who won her 2nd consecutive Little East Swimmer of the Year. She set multiple school records this year, so shout out to her. And then shout out to women's wrestling. This is the reason why we're leaving today. This week sparks the first ever NCAA Women's Wrestling Championship. We have 8 women going to the inaugural championship. This is the most of any team in Division III, or any team in the nation actually, that's sending student athletes to this championship. Women's wrestling is having their send-off today, and huge shout out to them and the progress they've made in just 3 years as a varsity program, or 4 years.
Thank you. Anything else from athletics? Any questions, comments, or concerns for athletics? Okay, seeing none, the athletics report is complete. You guys are free to leave.
Thank you.
Next, we are going to move into the Club of the Month award. We only have Club of the Month because we did not receive enough nominations for faculty and staff to determine the faculty and staff of the month. So we're going to be sending out a form to all of you, and we ask you to please fill it out so we can give them out for February when we come back from spring break. Any nominations towards those, even if someone's already been nominated and received it before, would be great. Very happy to announce that Improv on the Rocks has won the Club of the Month award for February 2026. I'm going to open the floor to comments, praises, anything that anyone has to add for Improv. I do know that there are a lot of senators who go to their shows, so I'm sure that someone has something to say. Yeah.
I mean, I've gone to, I want to say every single show this semester. They've done outstanding jobs. I can see in the way they do their acts, they go, they're very funny. They go differently every time. And their variety show actually was very successful. And I know that your Boston trip went very well as well. So good job. Congratulations.
Any other comments? I will add, I have gone to a couple improv shows, only one this year, but last year I went to a lot more and I thoroughly enjoyed every show that I've gone to. You guys do an amazing job, just putting on a class act and performance for the students of the campus community. So great job, guys. Definitely well deserved. Since Chairperson McKiernan isn't here, I'm gonna have Vice President Cludier take the photo.
You can go down here.
Is there still snow in my hair? No.
Just for the sake of time, I'm gonna move on to the seat distribution amendment, but congratulations again to Improv on the Rocks, very well deserved. Now I'm gonna hand the floor off to Chairperson Amaya to talk about seat distribution. And if you came in late, technology policy is waived. The seat distribution amendment is on Kodiak, so please use your phone, laptop, whatever to look at it.
Thank you. At this time, I motion to amend the Student Senate Constitution, Article 7, Section 3, subsection A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I, and J.
So moved. Second.
Second, I'm gonna allocate 6 minutes to this conversation. I'm gonna shoot the floor back to Chairperson Maya.
Thank you. So yeah, a little bit about the C, distribution amendment. If you're looking right now in the Kodiak under the legislative, my folder, you'll see that we're amending section 3, which will cap the number of representatives for specific constituencies. I'll read those off now. 5 students for the College of Arts and Sciences, 2 students for the College of Business, 3 students for the College of Engineering, 2 students for the College of Pharmacy, 4 resident students for resident representation, 3 commuter students for commuter representation, and then additional representatives shall be added upon review of enrollment numbers every calendar year that ends in 0 or 5. And these seats must be reviewed by the Student Senate and approved by a 2/3 majority vote. And then we also capped 3 representatives for student varsity athletes, that's the athletic representatives, and 2 at-large representatives. I also removed subsection H, which said an enumeration of current students and the reappointment of student senate seats shall occur preceding the spring general election for the subsequent election. This no longer would apply since the review for seats distributions will occur every calendar year that ends in 0 or 5. So yeah.
As someone who has had to calculate the seat distribution for 3 elections now, it is impossible to get accurate data on time for each election, whether it's fall or spring, to determine the right amount of seats. I always get it a couple days before the election. Vice President Matthews has done a great job of getting it to me, but I know we've received complaints about timing of it due to like when the school takes their censuses and when they have the most accurate information. So just doing it on a 5-year basis is a lot less work for the election committee because a lot of times the numbers are just not accurate and we're just putting out seats that are just wrong. It's not based on the true proportion of students. So, and there have been significant dips or raises in numbers depending on people changing majors, especially in like the fall, but even going into the spring from the first year to sophomore class, it happens a lot. So that's why that change is happening. It's logistically a nightmare. So any questions or comments about the seats though and the distribution there? Yes.
So in the last election, I think at one point there was 3 College of Business representatives, and then I see that we're down to 2. Is it because you guys recalculated it and we're down to 2, or did you just max it at 2?
Both. So the number that we were going for was it was around 300 per seat, and business is short of the 3rd seat by like 25 students, and then the minimum seats per constituency is 2. So they're short by like 25 students. It might be more from that, and that wasn't even from the last set of data that we got. That's from the numbers I got from the registrar a week ago.
So can we bump it up to 3 if it's only 25 students? But I know College of Business has a lot of different majors. Wouldn't it be better to represent a student body with a lot of majors with 3 students with 2 representatives, or is it too big to discuss something like that?
I would say no, because once we do that, we have to start bumping up every other constituency that is around the same, which resident is around the same, and arts and science is around the same too. Plus also those numbers, there's a lot of lack of clarity for that set of numbers I got from the registrar. There's a lack of clarity of differentiation between undergrad and grad,
Okay.
which those I will get a more accurate data set for the election when we're verifying the results. But because of that, also, I'm anticipating the numbers to only drop across the board.
Okay.
So it might be even bigger.
All right, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Just also to logistically, we're too, as I said in the email I sent to you guys about this, we are too big. There's no other student government that has 50 seats plus. It's good that we're filling the seats. That's unheard of A lot of them struggle to do that, but seats wise, like total amount of seats, that there's very, very few. Most of them max out at 20. We're still double that at 40 if you include the executives, but 32. And I think going forward, the strategy will not be to add more seats, but proportionally distribute the 32 across each constituency and trying to make it work with a 2-seat minimum per constituency as well, which we did do with this distribution. Okay, I'm gonna move to a grouping vote. Seat distribution. Still don't have to. Don't put that in there. Don't put that in there.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're excused.
Sure, right.
This is free. Yeah, you can have that. With 28 yes votes, 1 no vote, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes and meets the 2/3 threshold. That will pop up on the ballot with the presidential requirements as well for the community to vote in favor or against. Next, we are going to move into a time, place, and manner discussion. At the end of last Senate meeting, there were multiple senators requesting Reg to be present and talk about or to answer questions about our last discussion in regards to that policy. So,
Just a reminder.
yes.
So we did a poll last week just because we were wondering where you guys thought about the time, place, and manner restrictions. We had 2 votes for alleviate all time, place, and manner restrictions for groups. 29, I believe, for allow groups to participate in debate on campus in spaces that don't appear to talk about traffic, and then 11 said keep the current restrictions that only allow groups to participate and debate indoors. So the middle one had a majority of support.
All right.
That's all. Data summarized.
Okay, so I want to open the floor for a discussion on this. I don't know if you would like to start on the policy.
I do, because I
Yeah.
want to make sure there's a clarification on one thing that I heard you saying, is that it's not a restriction. Okay, so what I want to say is that there's an evaluation. It's not a restriction. Most of it has to do with the evaluation of safety and space and what we can control. So I'll give you an example, right? This whole issue came up. You guys know about Skokie, Illinois? No, okay. All right, so imagine this scenario, right? So I grew up I am not Jewish myself, but I grew up in a Jewish community. All of my best friends who I've had all of my life for the last 50 years or so are Jewish, right? In Skokie, Illinois, there was a large population of people that were actually Holocaust survivors. And the American Nazi Party decided they were going to do a demonstration in this town, right, to make a point. Do you guys know what the ACLU is? Right, American Civil Liberties Union, okay. That Nazi party challenged ACLU to represent them on free speech, right? So these are the kinds of things that can happen, and they actually won, right? But they ended up not being in Skokie, Illinois. Part of that reason was they couldn't have protection there, right? So they went to a place in Chicago. Time, manner, and place is frequently about the ability to manage crowds for whatever reason that you want to do it. And when you have the possibility of disruptive crowds, ones that do, trying to think what's the right way to do this. Let me go back to the Skokie thing. One of the things the Supreme Court did not do is it didn't rule on what hate speech is, right? When we think about discrimination, we think about what it is in terms of being a civil society or community here. There is such a thing as hate speech, right? And when we think about what it is that we want to do, there are certain words we don't use, there are certain things that we don't do. And when you are all here, we're not a public institution. And so there are certain things that we can institute that make it so that we are a community for all in ways that can be significantly different than what happens in a state institution. But even in a state school, you have to have a permit to do the things that you do, right? Because there's an evaluation, often for safety and for disruption and all the things that happen that way. So the one incident where I had to kind of institute this with a group was entirely because of that. Many of you are on Yik Yak, right? I do review it from time to time. I do not comment in there. But the kinds of things that came out in one of these gatherings, right, is imagine this completely horrible statement, right? So I'm going to say it, but I want you to know that I think it's completely horrible, right? Women don't want to get raped. They should keep their legs together, right? When statements like that start happening in large groups, those are fighting words, right? And when you think about what happens with the things that are in time, manner, and place, one of the things that you can control is when activities, whether they're intended or not, incite aggressive or fearful situations, right? So inciting, hate language that can incite aggression, right? Racial things, gender-based things, anything that has to do with an identity of a person has the potential to be a tinderbox, right? It's not about policies. It's about somebody saying that you're wrong for being who you are, right? So when those things happen, or they could happen in a significant level in a large group that's in a public space, you all can say that you paid to be here, right? But like the homeowners association, you paid to do it under the rules that are here, right? And those rules are meant to make it so that when you're in common space, it doesn't interrupt your life. It doesn't harm you because you have a certain identity or perspective on life. And when we think about time, manner, and place, I have to work with public safety. We have a very small police force. If it was something really huge, we agreed to do it, we'd have to bring in Springfield police to do crowd control. So time, manner, and place serves for both safety, but it also follows our policy because the difference in our free speech is we have discrimination and harassment policies, right? And then the related policies that support those. That's the restriction I have to think about. So when you think about a restriction, it's basically a do no harm to your friends kind of policy, right? Within the group. So you can have your identities, right? I believe in that very firmly, that people's identities are sacred to them and we should preserve that. If it hits something there, then I'm going to consider the fact that it might not be something that's right for public space. If there's something that's an administration thing, my friend over here wanted to do something about administration, that's a policy thing, right? I can publicly be accused of doing or not doing something that you think is important, and there are policies around it. We're facing this, right? That's different than saying that there's something wrong with me because of my identity. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's where the variations are in terms of what's potentially free speech. That whole thing that I talked about with the ACLU and the Nazi Party, horrible things can be said in free speech in public settings. In a private setting, that is not true, right? We have control over that, just like it's in your backyard, you have control over that. And so we have presented ourselves as an institution that values all of you coming as you are, right? And that means that your rights sometimes end where somebody else's rights begin, and we have to negotiate that. The time, manner, and place is mostly a safety thing, but it's also a comfort thing for people to be in this institution and not feel like there's something wrong with them because somebody else said so. Right? Okay. So having said that, not really a restriction, but that's kind of how the evaluative process works. And I do this in concert with Tom Ford, who is in public safety, right? So when it comes to evaluating where and when we do things, I consult with him and his group, because in some instances, we could have things in an outdoor space, but it's dependent on resources to be able to manage that if there's something contentious, right? Okay. I think I'm ready now.
Yeah, senators, if you have any questions, now is the time for that. It could be about anything that you just talked about, anything about the policy, what we talked about last week. The floor is open. Yeah, Chair Lucier.
Yeah.
So would a space like Commonwealth Lawn, as discussed prior, possibly work for just gatherings and debates like that, or would that not be okay under?
It could be, right? So the terms of those debates really have to be evaluated, right? And so if we're looking at two policy things, you have a group of people that want to have a moderated debate, that's great. If it's where you want to pick a fight with everybody on campus, can't do that, right? It's one of those things where because that's contentious. But if you have two groups of people in a moderated scenario and you want to do that kind of thing, we have great faculty moderators, right, that can do things. And so if you have topic-based things you want to bring into a public space and do that, that's great. But I'll give you an example. If a politician came to campus and said that they wanted to run and influence all of you through their political means, I'd say get off, right? You can't do that. But the governor, on the other hand, works to have policies that make this place actually operate within the state of Massachusetts. The governor is already an elected official coming to support the school. It's different. That makes sense? But in your case, yes, it could be a location that you can do. But, Tom and I would have to talk about what does that mean? Is it going to be something that potentially incites something? Or is it something that we would think would be a little more gentle in terms of that debate? And that we would have people present in case something happened, but there's a less likely situation for that contentiousness to happen. That's probably an okay thing to do in an open space like that, because you can get large gatherings on Commonwealth. You get an army on Commonwealth, right? It's that big, right? Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Anyone else? Yes.
I just wanted to make a comment that your explanation really put into perspective of like what happened and like why the email and said why we were questioning it. Because I was a little bit confused about like all the aspects related to that policy and why you had such a final say in it. So it just really put into perspective what we were learning and experiencing in our last meeting, so.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I also want you to know that in many cases when something comes up, I don't just leave the decision to myself, but there are groups of people within the cabinet and also people that are in the leadership group where if I have some questions myself, because I don't always have every answer, we kind of workshop it, and talk it through to make sure it's the right choice.
Mhm.
Thanks. Yeah,
So in terms of like regulation, you basically want to make sure engaging in this debate for students is more of a choice than something that is could be something that incites speech in like a public area, and maybe like a professor or someone who holds power at this university, just making sure it doesn't get out of hand.
that's an ideal. And with the faculty, it's one of those things where many of them, they have topic-based experience, right? And so can also both guide, fact check, all the things that are very useful in a public debate. But yes, ideally, because all of you should feel, give you another example. Think of all the dormitories as a house, right? And you think of everything in this public space as a yard, right? If somebody were to come into your yard, now I'm a parent, right? So if I were thinking about it, I very much respect everybody's right to religion and politics, right? But if somebody came onto my yard and started spouting off things, trying to influence my kids because they're inside the house, you get off my yard, right? That kind of thing. Public space in a private institution where you've signed on for the kinds of things that we've committed ourselves to basically means that you're ascribing to that. You're agreeing that you will behave within those boundaries. What we want to do, though, is that every one of you has a right to feel comfortable with who you are, and you don't have to be exposed to everything that's there. Sometimes they get the point is, well, people need to hear this. No, they don't. They need to hear it if they want to hear it, right? And so there's space for that in a private setting. So that's kind of it. Yes, you characterize it very nicely. Thank you.
Any last second questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move to visitors' comments. Are there any visitors' comments at this time? Yes.
Hello, my name is Noah. I'm the president of the Young Democrat Socialists on campus. And I wanted to clarify some things that were made, some claims that were made last week that I just wanted to I think is important to fix. So first off, there was kind of a misunderstanding at the beginning that the protest that took place on campus last week was about student senate. I just want to clarify, it was against admin, not student senate. We had zero intention of doing a January 6th style storming of this room. If that was not gonna happen, I assure you. So that was the first claim. And then the second claim came during, I think it was the State of the Union.
State of the campus.
State of the campus.
State of the campus. Same thing.
I wish.
Second,
Would've been
claim
better.
made that, what's it called, on a campus rate, I'm gonna say it was a podcast, it was on the podcast, a claim was made that, we took a swing at the entire student senate. I want to clarify again that that was not what took place. It was an attack on the systemic function of student senate, not every single individual senator saying that every single one of you is talking on behalf of admin. That was not the claim that was being made. It was just that the systematic function of senate at times appears to kind of just line up or give students a false sense of control when it just, ends up getting subjugated to admin. And then on top of that, also that, those claims had nothing to do with previous conflicts with Senate. It was not us reiterating where the claim was made. This was it. Some people didn't get what they want, and that's what this was on, the basis of emotional problems or whatever. Not the case again. Oh, yeah, that it was just a general, it was just a critique of the general function of the student senate, again, not a critique of, what's it called? Not a critique of reiterating past issues. So I just want to make that clarification, because I was watching the live stream, it's that's not what we said. So I just want to make that clear. And also I want to reiterate another thing that was said during the podcast, which is that we've seen a lot of positive change from our perspective on the part of the student senate, including the conversation that was taking place today regarding this time, state, and manner clause. There's been a lot of really positive change, and just again, thank you for giving us a chance to clarify that. Yeah.
Thank you, Noah. Hey, by any chance you have that written down?
Kind of, but you're not gonna be able to read it. I can transcribe it in words for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, if you could just send it over to Becca. Thank you. Any other visitors' comments? Yes, state your name for, our second.
Yeah, you want to stand there?
Yeah.
So I apologize for lack of information about it. My name is Kyle Posha. I'm coming on behalf of part of the psychology department. My professors, Dr. Petrano and Dr. Caselli, have heard that their research labs are going to be no longer ran for the next semester. I just wanted to come on behalf of the students, that my lab mates, as well as most of the psych department, I'd say some of the art and science departments. Just wanted to comment that I think that this would be taking away a big step in the development of undergrad psych students, especially those considering graduate school. So the lack of a research lab would give these opportunities for candidates to, increase their competitiveness when applying to grad school or doing PhD programs. Not having a functioning lab with research facilitated by professors hinders the ability for us to do this. And I just wanted to express on behalf of, we'll have something more formal coming out. This is kind of news to me, so I just wanted to make it notice and say that. Thank you.
Thank you.
These are,
May I comment on this because we talked about this today?
Yes, go ahead.
Sure. So what I would suggest is that, that is a rumor, not a fact, right? So when all of you come in under a catalog, right? You know about that?
Yeah.
Every school, when you have a catalog, is obligated then, because the catalog is essentially your contract. So students who are here are not going to be impacted by any changes that happen that way. It honors it, right? And so it's also something where if you do kind of the smell test on things, we have graduate programs that depend on undergraduate programs here. it would be shooting ourselves in the foot to have things that wouldn't allow you to go from an undergraduate program into a graduate program. Are there adaptations that happen? Yes. Are there things that make it so that as we go forward, there are potentially better options? Yes, right? When we do that kind of thing. So what I would suggest at this point is there isn't anything that's formalized right now in terms of academic changes. And it's something where whenever you evaluate what you're doing as an institution, you will see change, right? I'm evidence of change. So I'm now part of enrollment management and student life, right? There are efficiencies and effectiveness things that are talked about all the time, and they will change, but it won't change people's opportunities. One of the things that I have heard from somebody I care very much about in the student body, I care about all of you, but this is somebody I know very well, is that there was a belief that there was something that had to do with us not appreciating or respecting research. That's garbage. That's not this institution at all, right? So if there's any kind of rumors that are floating around like that, we do value research. We do make sure that students are prepared for graduate programs. And if there's any changes that are coming out, it's because the institution tries to evaluate itself on a regular basis to make sure that we're doing the right things, becoming more efficient over time, and also making it so that opportunities may actually be greater. Hopefully that helps. Yes.
So the psychology department, even if that's just rumors, I know for a fact that Dr. Lindsay Pohl of the criminal justice department had a research cut along with probably other professors. Is this because of federal cuts, like federal grant research cuts
I have
being
to look into
removed,
that.
or is it?
Sometimes that happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I
some
don't
of
know
it's,
for a fact about which direction that is, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do Senator Scorpio then. Vice President.
I just want to echo the importance of research. I'm not in psych, but I'm in neuroscience. I think that, and it's kind of a separate thing to your catalog, to your actual coursework, but having a chance to do any type of research at this university really gets you the skills that you need to succeed in the job market, which is why we're all here. So I think like, if we can look into preserving research over all else when we are cutting things, I think that would benefit people.
Yeah. Can I have one more second?
Yes.
Okay. So we should distinguish between cutting and adapting, right? There was here's a good example. So some of you are in school and, in the COVID times, right? So in higher education during the COVID times, many schools shrunk in terms of size because of what happened with the online learning. The government, in order to preserve the schools, actually gave us millions of dollars so that we would still have the ability to not only support students, some of it was for financial aid, others was to maintain the institution so that as we exited COVID, the institutions would remain whole, but then they just took it away, right? And so in some cases, I should say in many cases, because I was in another school at the same time, this kind of adaptation and what we have to do is we have to adjust to the things that are slightly different in how students behave and how we produce things ourselves, right? So it's a matter of rethinking things again. Me being an example is sometimes you don't need all that you've had before to function efficiently. And it's an opportunity to kind of think about what's important. So you talked about research. Things that are important to students are areas we're trying to focus on whenever we do our decisions. It's kind of a do no harm to students mindset that we do. Will things change? They will. Sometimes it is government based though. I mean, sometimes grants support things that we have, and to be able to pivot quickly when something like that happens, it happens to us like that, the reaction to it can't always be that, right? So it's a lot of moving parts there, but nobody here thinks that research is not important. So at least, right, as far as I know. Yeah.
I'm gonna hand the floor to you for final comment.
Okay, so I have two things, Greg. The first is that I might have misunderstood you just now, but are you saying that current students right now, like, can we confirm that they're gonna have that lab experience or no?
So I can't speak entirely for the decisions in academic areas.
And this is coming from the provost, right? That's like that's the channel that decision would come through.
It is, but I was with the provost today.
Okay.
And the thing that we talked about, because this topic actually came forward to me through a text while I was sitting in that room, okay? So we talked about it in that moment. And what she and I talked about is the fact that you come in with a catalog, right? So for all of you who are here, if you are in a path right now, the things that serve the purpose of being research that you might need, let's say you're in neuroscience, so you want to continue on into something else in this college right here that we're sitting in, you can do that, right? And if somebody's a freshman today and they have that catalog, we are required to serve that purpose. In some instances, courses can be changed, right? But the equivalencies of those courses then come into play, right? Some set of faculty, department chairs might say, take these things and combine them together and make it better. Departments frequently merge for better efficiencies, even though it doesn't change the outcomes for the students. Does that make sense? Okay.
And then the second thing is, do we know when there's gonna be formal communication about this? Because, I mean, I heard this from my professors just walking around today. I know you did, obviously Kyle did, I'm sure other people in this room have. I'm just wondering, it feels like one of those situations where there needs to be clear communication sooner rather than later.
Okay, well, what I can say is that would be absolutely great if this was actually a formal decision that had been made.
Okay, see,
Right?
right.
So what I'm still trying to figure out is where the heck this came from.
The,
Do you want
yeah,
to?
you can talk about it if you have
I mean,
information.
I don't want to speak for my professors personally. I think they were in contact with the provost office directly and they heard.
Yeah.
That was the same
That's also
information that
what I
I had
heard.
gotten.
So that the provost is reaching out to professors today, telling them that their funding was getting cut for research.
It's interesting. I was just with her this morning.
Okay,
All right, so I will dig deeper to find out answers about where this may have come from and what this really means.
Mhm.
Funding does change based on needs, right? They can be shifted based on needs, but I don't know what the actual decision was around that, and that was not discussed.
I want to add that myself and Secretary Bronson have a meeting with interim provost Slosky tomorrow. So we will be talking about this then to get more clarification. I think just from the students' perspective, especially psychology students, the best thing to do is actually, even if a decision hasn't been made final, what is the practical, like, application of this? If it was to happen, like, what are the consequences of that? What would that look like? That is essentially, besides just losing research opportunities, like, is it a specific class that is being looked at that's going away that you all feel is needed and should not even be in a conversation like that? If so, then we can actually talk about it. But just the general statement that research is being cut isn't good enough for us to do anything. It's not good enough for us to make a statement on. As Greg said, things will change and develop. Maybe two classes are being combined because they overlap too much. Maybe two professors are helping with a research class now instead of just one. It could be a wide variety of things. We need to know what is actually happening first before we just jump the gun and make a statement on it. I agree. We shouldn't be cutting research opportunities, but let's look at what's actually happening first. Hopefully we'll get clarification tomorrow. We have to move on just due to reports, but if you do have something that you would like myself or Secretary Bronson to bring up to the provost, please email it to us ASAP.
Thank you, Kyle.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna move into reports. I'm gonna start with arts and science, just based off of the last topic, but please, if you do have stuff, the last topic, deviate off of it.
Reminder, 2 minutes.
Yes.
Wasn't in the report, but again, I did have several people text me throughout this morning saying, hey, bring this up at Senate about the whole research debacle because they've heard the same things that have already been stated. And then moving on to our report, because of scheduling conflicts, we communicated with Dean Davis through email, so this is just kind of saying some of the things that he addressed with us. They're working on a curriculum to like streamline being able to add double majors or minors, things such as that. Again, he's more than welcome to come in and actually talk about this once there's more of a formal grasp on what that's gonna look like. They're talking about different options when it comes to course availability. Pretty much just making sure that seniors that are graduating can take the required courses they still need to take. And then there's statements in here addressing the CSP closure, refer to the minutes for that. And then the only concern is pretty much having a plan for the future. because CSP is one of the buildings that has the most amount of students in it at one time for all of our, most if not all of our lab classes, in addition to other specialty courses. And we should have a plan for the future as to what we're gonna do, instead of just saying, let's go online for 2 weeks for the future. Refer to the report for anything else.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for arts and sciences? Okay, seeing. To the end, yeah, okay, we'll jump back to that.
You'll have Senator's comments. too.
Yeah, we're gonna move back into normal order, so we're gonna go to class of 26.
Hold on, I lost my train of thought.
They're still looking for commencement speakers, and also the senior week activities have been finalized and the tickets went on sale yesterday.
Shout out to the 2026 class council.
Yes. Any other questions or comments for class of 26? Seeing none, class of 27.
We got some fun stuff, everybody. As far as the fundraiser still going on, please refer to last month's meeting for information on that. There's a junior only event coming soon. If you know any juniors or if you're junior in here, spread the word. We got trivia night with Chick-fil-A and ice cream, board games and prizes on March 27th, CCA 8 to 10. Please go. As far as the council goes, we haven't had a member increase. We are now at a total of like 8 or 9, which we're very happy about since we were down to 3 at one point. Nothing else to report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for class of 27?
Thank you.
Seeing none, class of 28.
There's nothing to add except for the event on March 29th at Clay Date. It's like pottery painting. Tickets are available 2 weeks prior on U-Tickets.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for class of 28? Seeing none, class of 29.
They want to do like a puppy event on Tuesday, April 2nd. And they also proposed a few shirts that they want to be selling out, and they're also gonna try to partner with Garvey's, but they don't have a specific date for that yet.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for class of 29? Seeing none, commuter.
So not much to report today, but during the last month, we have been hearing a lot of complaints about the way that the university plows the commuter lots. They plow them pretty well, however, they leave quite a few spots still covered up, which has led to more complaints about the parking. That's about it.
Thank you. I want to follow up on that really quickly. The Commonwealth / West lot is not in a good state. And I came in early the day that we had the delay, and there were at least like 40 cars that had their wipers up and that were just parked out in that lot. And they proceeded to stay there until I left at 10 p.m. And there were no tickets being issued to them, and that lot was not plowed properly. So I know that the residents get notification to move their cars around and stuff like that, and it might have been into that lot. If that is the case, I quite frankly don't care. The school needs to prepare better for that. It's not on the residents if that is the case, but just putting that out there. Very, very briefly.
Like to comment on what you just said with the parking, there was no notification for any residents for what I got as a resident, and parking lots even up into the upperclassmen was not great either. Like it's still like an ice mess, like trying to walk into my car. I basically have to hold on to my car and my neighbor's car to not slip and fall. So it's not just a commuter, it's a campus-wide problem.
Cars in when they plow.
And cars go plowed in very bad.
Every time.
I had to shovel 5 feet of snow out from behind my car.
Yep.
Senator Scorpa.
I just also want to say, I think the worst example of this was in the Southwood parking lot, when I was up there earlier. There is like an inch of just thick ice covering the handicap spots, which is embarrassing. Like you can't even see the handicap like sign on the ground.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna move on, but we're gonna defer that to Chairperson McKiernan and also Senator Foley to follow up on.
Sorry.
No. That's a thing. Anything else on commuter issues besides ice and parking? Okay, resident.
Yeah, so our general updates, our interviews have been completed, so congratulations. But we do have a lot of concerns and supports. So residents in Wyndham have expressed concerns about the state of the pool table in the basement. It's been broken since last semester and there's no pool billards that aren't snapped and nothing has been done to fix the table all year. Residents across the campus have also expressed concerns about the internet, especially on the weekends. It kind of seems spotty and like sometimes it'll just like go out and then you have to like reconnect. Kind of unfortunate sometimes, you know?
We're laughing because Cam's been trying to connect to the internet.
This entire meeting, I'm lucky enough to have the agenda up and loaded, but I have not had a stable internet connection the entire time I've been sitting here.
Yeah, and then residents in Gateway are also heavily complaining about the potholes. Yeah, that's all of our complaints though. So our kudos go out to all of the student involvement for ensuring the smooth process of all RA, PA, and student mentor interviews. Also, there was a typo. It says for the month of September, it is supposed to be February.
Okay, we will make sure that that is updated. Resident. We will make sure that that's updated for the sake of the minutes, yes.
I have something that, I'm sorry, it's slightly related to parking, but I've talked to at least 3 residents. One of them was my roommate whose cars got stuck in the whole like slush ice issue. And when they're looking for someone to help them get out, they call public safety. And when they call public safety says you can come get a shovel. When really we're looking for like manpower. So I'm wondering if there's any solution to that issue, because that's something I remember from last year as well.
Okay, Lucy.
I don't know if anybody would have an answer to this, but does public safety or facilities have an icebreaker just to like try to clear up the area around the cars?
I have absolutely no idea.
I don't believe, so I could be wrong. We'll follow up on that unless, Sergeant, right? Do you know if they have a icebreaker by chance that students could borrow or they could use?
We have shovels, and they're the plastic ones. I don't know if facilities would have like that sort of stuff.
Okay.
But I mean, the shovels, obviously, after a couple days of snow are probably useless. But at least we do have that stuff.
Yeah.
And we've got the ice melt, facilities has the ice melt in the sand. And yeah, I feel for you guys, I understand. You know, when I was a youngster, I lived in an apartment and same thing, they would just come and plow and you spend 3 hours trying to get your car out of the parking lot. So I understand. Hopefully no more snow.
Yeah. Can you state your name for the sake of minutes, please? Could you just state your name for the minutes?
Sergeant Joe Broder.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Godet.
This is to kind of address the whole Wi-Fi part. One thing that I've noticed specifically, just because I do a lot on my computer and I have to rely on it 24/7, being on the WNE Wi-Fi or even the WNE guest Wi-Fi, it literally makes my computer move like a snail. Back in 2024, right as we were starting that academic year, they announced what was called WNE BYOD. So you could go ahead and basically what BYOD is, bring your own device. So you could go ahead and create like a Wi-Fi, like you would get a personal Wi-Fi password for your username, and that will actually move your computer a lot faster. Like I'm on that right now, and I've been able to like look at the agenda and like check emails and everything while I'm sitting here for the meeting.
Thank you. Any other comments? Senator Mamson.
It's Umbasam, and my complaints for residents, especially pedestrians, is that when they clear the snow, they only clear the walkways, which is nice, but sometimes we want to cross the road and we have to go through the ice to cross the road, like in Gateway. If you want to go to the laundry, I am on one side of the road. You literally have so much ice, I have to pass through to the next side. And also, like when you're coming in, an Uber drops you at the start. You have to go through ice to get to the walkway. So for pedestrians, anyway, they can clear certain sides of the road so that people can cross the roads, even though there's no place to cross. Do you understand And noticed that in other places, but Gateway is where I live, so I kind of experience it every time while I'm there.
Thank you. Any last second resident? Yes.
Yeah, he touched on the pothole issue. As a commuter, there's been an increasing amount of potholes at the entrances of campus. Pretty much every single one besides the one by the Welcome Center. And then also on top of that, the state of the speed bumps has also been degrading heavily. I'm not sure, is there a plan to address these road issues, once it warms up?
But I do know that, as far as like the potholes into like the campus police entrance and like the law school entrance, the school can't touch the potholes that are near the like city roads because there's some like permit issue. I do know that, but for the ones that are on campus and in Gateway, they definitely can.
Really quickly, and then we'll move
Yeah,
on.
sorry, I know Gateway, it's been really bad lately, like, when you first get into Gateway and then take the first left into that street, the potholes are so bad, like, it's like, when you're driving, it's just potholes, and it really like ruins somebody, it can make somebody's car, like, tires pop. It's so deep that it's just like, I don't know, somebody needs to check that, like, if possible.
Yeah, thank you. We have to move on. The College of Business report.
We met with Dean Costanzo on Friday, and then he mentioned that they're building a collaborative space in the Dean Suite, so it's getting an upgrade there. And then they're gonna be updating the code of conduct, so it's more updated to 2026, and they'll be meeting with the Coleman Scholars and the faculty with that. And then we just wanted to say that there should have been an email about Dean Costanzo replacing Dean Walker temporarily, and just an email updating students where to get information about that stuff. And then just for like work week, I know it was a big thing a couple years ago, I heard, but on March 24th, there'll be a workshop on preparing for the professional world featuring Faray and Seth from professional recruiter Jennifer Arling and Trisha Arling. This is gonna be Tuesday, March 24th from 11 a.m. to 12:20 in Wood Auditorium. And then there'll be a SAS Institute guest lecture and workshop, which is just Seth Via. It's really big in business analytics, but it'll be on Friday, March 27th, in University Commons. And then you can reach out to Professor Murat Agdodu. But you can email him, and his email will be in the minutes. And then the All Majors Career Fair is Thursday, March 5th.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for College of Business? Seeing none, College of Engineering.
So the College of Engineering was awarded a $2 million grant in the National Science Foundation STEM Track 2. And this grant will be allocated to providing scholarships for incoming freshmen in the years 2026 through 2032. We also had our E-Week on February 16th through the 20th, which was reportedly successful with high participation and interest levels. And it coincided with our prospective student day on February 16th as well. And we also have our engineering open house, which is going on right now. It was from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m.
Nice. Thank you. Any questions or comments for College of Engineering? Seeing none, College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences.
The biggest update, CSP is open again. Yay. So we're still adjusting to just getting back to our normal spaces. For concerns and support, I bring this up every single month, I feel like, but there still is only 2 professors in the neuroscience program. When it was made for 3, so we've been having to compromise on a lot of classes. We're gonna keep fighting for that until we do get the amount of staff that we need. We were talking about maybe getting printer access in CSP so that if a student needed to print something, they didn't need like a card access, because there's a pharmacy printer, but you need like very special permissions to get into that room and to use it. So if we can get a printer in CSP, I think that would be a good way to go further as we're looking into fixing a lot of the technology in this building after the disaster. We're still looking for a cryostat in the neuro lab. I don't know how that's going to be affected due to the research situation, but we are in dire need of that. That is very important in our research. In terms of the pharmacy classes being moved to Emerson, we kind of also agree that we need a better plan in how to relocate if this ever happens again. And also a lot of classes were they're usually recorded using Echo 365, and the technology for that is not in Emerson, so a lot of classes were either very poorly recorded or not recorded at all. So at the bare minimum, we would need to figure that out, just in case CSP ever had to close again and we had to relocate. And then for kudos, we just want to shout out Paulette, because during the CSP closure, Paulette Kofsky, who is our lab assistant for the neural lab, she came in and she made sure that the mice and rats were alive and well kept, even though we had a unfortunate situation. And then NeuroClub Spring Olympics is Monday, April 27th from 8 to 10. You there?
Thank you. Any questions or comments for neuro, for pharmacy and health sciences? Seeing none, we already did athletics at large.
Okay, so Senator at Large is short and sweet this week, this month. It's just increased concern by the student body regarding the salting of walkways during cold months by commuters and residents, and many concerns about the parking lots, which we already talked about.
Great. Thank you. Very, very briefly, I skipped special committee, so special events.
Okay, my biggest update is that the New York City trip went live yesterday. And completely sold out by about 3:30.
One of those tickets. Didn't get them. Go ahead.
Well, they completely sold out already. So that's the biggest item. It was brought to my attention that I never mentioned the other members of the Spring Event E-Board, which are the co-marketing chairs, Kat Greenwood and Stephen Morrison, and then Brianna Thurston, who's our treasurer. Kudos go out to Bridget, who's way back over there, for all she does for student leaders. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. Brief questions or comments? Yes.
I just want to make a comment. I actually stayed up till like 12 on the dot to get my ticket. Like I did not go to sleep. So I was like, 11:59, I'm refreshing and I'm getting my ticket. So shout out to you for that. And also I forgot to mention that if you're interested in any of the FinTech programs, registration will be closing for those by like the end of the month, because the classes will be getting started in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Parking committee.
Yeah, so Senator Brown and I contacted Chief Donahue of Public Safety, and we scheduled a meeting with them for tomorrow, Wednesday, March 4th. We hope to address several topics, but I'm just gonna keep it at the timetable. If you guys have any questions or comments or any concerns regarding parking that we'd like to bring up tomorrow or in the future, please talk to me or Senator Brown. So that's all.
Thank you. Food, health and safety.
See my report for everything, but pretty much CSP closure was handled well with health and well-being. The consent kissing booth was postponed for Safe Connect, but will be rescheduled shortly. I'm still waiting to receive information back on how that bystander training went. And then there's no new food updates as of right now. But if you have any concerns or complaints, just, I have ears, come talk to me.
Thank you. Election committee. There are 27 student senate packets signed out currently. I did not count the class council ones. Sorry, I do not have a number. But 27 for senate, hashtag class council, I'll update it for the minute's sake. This is your final reminder that petitions need to be in this Friday. If you want to keep your seat on student senate, you need to go take out a petition and run again and not be a graduating senior or not be a one semester senior next year. So please, 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 I do not want to get an email on Friday from anyone sitting in this room saying that they did not know that they had to rerun for their seat. You have to rerun for your seat every spring. That is when the term ends. Yes. When student involvement closes, which I believe will be 4:30. Yes.
There's also, there's already been one election meeting, and there is another one on Zoom at, on Wednesday. Thursday. You have to go to one of the three if you want to run.
The email I sent out to the student body had misinformation. It said Tuesday. I will be on the Zoom tonight if anyone would like to get the meeting done and over with, just because I messed up and my Starship got canceled. Thank you, admissions. So if anyone would like to get that done, it is there.
7 to 8?
Yeah, 7 to 8.
And Thursday, 7 to 8 on Zoom.
Thursday, 7 to 8. The same, I will use the same link that is already in the packet. Any questions or comments about elections? Seeing none, executives, starting with finance. please refer to the minutes to read Treasurer Thurston's. Thank you. Legislative.
In the interest of time, please refer to the minutes for my full report.
Thank you. Campus Relations, please refer to the minutes for Chairperson McKiernan's report. Public Relations.
I'm gonna say mine, but really quick, we had an open house this past Sunday.
Yes,
So my only main thing that I wanna say is that there was no reminder email sent. That is a major issue. While all of the clubs did show up, thank you, Cam, for sending a reminder email. That's not his job. So I wanna make sure that is not the case for, accepted students day. And, thank you to Senator Goodman, Senator Dillon, Secretary Kilday, President Kaufman, Secretary Goddick, who's not here, for showing up to the open house. Thank you. That's it.
thank you. Secretary of Academic Affairs.
Keep pushing the OER survey. I'll keep posting it. I grabbed it today.
I
Oh, nice. Someone posted it today, a new post, so please keep doing that so we get the data. Hopefully going forward, we would work with seniors, but anybody else can have that financial burden lifted from them. And again, just to reiterate the conversation that we had before, because I believe in research as well. Please give myself or President Kaufman any concerns you have about the research topic before our meeting with Interim Provost Slavsky tomorrow at 2:30.
Thank you. Our survey is only at 93 respondents, which is not as much as we were hoping for, but with UPost being down for a lot of members of eBoard and then the email getting blocked from Greg, I'm not surprised. Please, as I said in the last email, do the boots on the ground work, send it out to people, send it out to the groups that you are a part of. This can only help them. It will not hurt them. So please just send that out. Even if they don't know the numbers directly off the top of their head, estimate. It says in the survey, estimate. They don't need to know it. But yeah, Senator's comments.
Hopefully this can be on the agenda for the meeting after spring break, but as of yesterday and now this morning, I've heard word and hopefully there's more solidified information after spring break, but College of Arts and Sciences professors are also being told to either slim down or cut their upper level courses and buff up their lower level courses. And I think this is not fact, but I believe that could affect people going into junior and senior year, and course requirements. And it's also just disheartening to see.
Thank you. Any other senators' comments? Seeing none, I move to adjourn.
Second.
We'll do a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those abstaining? Motion passed.
No, I was walking.
Yeah, can I steal two of those things?
Yes.
Good job, Greg. Very well spoken.
Oh.
We got more people.
You're right, okay, I'll mention it in the next meeting. After break, after I relax. No training.
Students come to the city hall for me to hold a break. Okay. I had, so I'm on the clock till 3:30.
Oh, the back of
Yeah, make it turn to
Okay.
I love
Yes, you can sign.
Oh, yeah. Anyone else?
Now it's because of the plows, it's gotten to a point where on the middle speed bump behind the roof, I'm now.